question. And I didn't think about it that way, but I think I attribute it because I hate to say this, but it's true. Wrestling is never that smart, and nobody's thinking that hard into it. That's the problem. Is I think they're just throwing shit out there.
Mm.
Believe me, I really believe this is true. And if I'm wrong, somebody tell me in the comments, whatever. But I think they just throw shit out there, and whatever sticks, they go with it.
Sometimes it's that, and you can kind of tell when things take off. I don't think anyone expected Orange Cassidy to
No,
blow up as quickly as he did. I don't think they expected Darby Allin to blow up as quickly as they did. Um, Jericho, when he was in WWF, the whole listing, I don't think they expected that to blow up as big as it did. There's certain things you can kind of tell. They're like, oh, this actually works. I mean, we got to keep riding this until it's completely milk dry. Just like another WWF thing, the Strowman around the ring locomotives thing they does. I
hmm
can't think what it's called. But yeah, it's probably that they think it's gonna work and it's not gonna work.
yeah.
Um, and I have high aspirations for AEW, and I like what they've been doing because they are providing a very strong alternative, and people are getting behind it because obviously they did over 1 million
What were the
viewers
ratings? Did you find out what the ratings were for this week?
this week. I haven't seen it yet.
I know
I
we're not doing a weekly thing. I just was curious. I'm sorry.
No, you're
Trying to.
good. You're good. I know where to check. 1 second, I can check it for sure. But the fact that they're hitting over 1 million when not
That's a good.
everyone,
Well, that's a good thing because if you're really comparatively speaking with Monday Night Raw and the low numbers they have been getting, anything AEW does over 1 million, in my opinion, is a win.
they're slightly under 1 million. They're at 930 this week.
Ah, Jesus. All right.
But still, the and okay, sorry, because when you mentioned ratings, one of the weirdest comparisons that I've been hearing is like, okay, well, TNA did better than that in 2010,
They
and now it's
did though.
considered a failure.
Right.
Cable subscriptions were way different 10 years ago.
I know. I know. I was going to say the same thing. When ECW went to TNN, the Nashville network, which then
Right.
turned into the whatever the other name before
Spike.
WWE Raw went on it,
Hmm.
we were getting a 1.3.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
yes, I get it. I listen. This is just going to show how ghetto I am. I don't subscribe. I don't have cable. I
Right.
rip everything off the. I got an Xbox and I go on my Internet Explorer and I just bootleg every single thing from everything. You know what I mean? I watch movies that come out in theaters
Right.
right there, and that's what everybody's doing. Not.
Right.
I mean, not everybody, but
Majority.
it. A lot of people are. So you have to account for the that change in viewing audience, but still it's worth it for the advertisers, right? Because the advertisers still want their dollar.
Right.
So I mean, at some point, I think TNT still has to be somewhat happy, right? I
Oh,
would imagine.
they've been extending their contract like insane. So yeah, they're liking what they're getting from AEW. Um, and that's the only people that really care about the ratings is the advertisers. The only reason I even pay attention to it is like, okay, is my show going to stick around longer or not? You know, that's the only reason I care about it.
I want to, dude. I want AEW to go head to head with Vince and to almost knock Vince off. Not because I want Vince is never going to go anywhere or WWE is never going to go
No, it's
anywhere,
not.
but it's just the point of competition creates so much opportunity, so much creative. We saw it with the with the old Monday Night Wars and
Hmm.
etc. It's like without and for dude, this was one of the biggest things. And I told you when we talked off air about this, timing is everything.
Right.
When I left ECW, I didn't leave ECW. ECW folded, and a month later, I was in WWE. And a couple of months after that, WWE bought WCW. So now there were three wrestling promotions offering guaranteed contracts. I was getting 150 grand a week or a
Wow.
year.
Wow.
No, 150 grand a year from ECW
Right.
and WCW and and WWE. You know what I mean? There was people vying for position and
Right.
contracts and having to offer talent money. And then it
Right.
all went down to just, oh, now there's just WWE. So you're going to lose a lot of wrestlers not being able to make that livable wage, that $100,000, $150,000, livable wage,
Right.
right, for a performer. Because it's 150 grand ain't a lot for a pro wrestler per year, because we also pay for our own travel and pay for our own taxes. So that 150 turns into really 75 or 80.
Don't
But
you pay for
that's
your
another.
own gear as well?
Yeah, that as well. But still, I'm just saying a livable wage. And now, it would be cool if, the more everybody comes up, the better it is for the performer. And that's all I care
Right.
about, is the
Mm-hmm.
men and women in the game, so they could all make money and,
Mm-hmm.
and just survive. And it helps the business,
Right.
because WWE wants to take out AEW in the ratings. AEW wants to, do the same thing. They all want the better for their company. So
Right.
that competitive fire also puts out the better content for the fans. So everybody wins in a sense.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah. It does. And one of the things that, again, this is another shot at WWE, and I don't mean it to be a shot at WWE. When they're on top and they have no real competition, they get very dull. They've done it
Yes.
multiple times over. Prior to WCW coming up, I'm not trying to make fun of like the era that you came into the WWE, but a lot of those characters did not make any
Oh,
sense. You
the
had
new
like a,
generation.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Well, no,
yeah.
prior to the new generation, because the new generation, you're kind of throwing in Bret Hart, but I mean like the what are the I'm trying to think of a couple of the
You had
examples of it.
Skinner, the Berserker.
Um,
You know,
the Repo Man,
yeah,
people like
Repo
that.
Man, uh, Duke the Dumpster Droese, the Mantar.
Mantar is another example. So like you have all those where it's like it's Vince McMahon doing, and then it happened again in the early 2000s or mid to late, 2010 era. Vince just got um, dull with it to where he didn't really build any new stars, so because he wasn't really trying.
He doesn't
And
have to, right? He comes to work. There's no competition, right?
exactly, exactly. And then you get stuff like, honestly, I'm again, this is another shot at Raw, but you get stuff like what you see on Raw, kind of recently. It's not that interesting. I like Drew McIntyre. I'm sticking around because of Drew at this point for Raw, but
I can't watch it, dude.
it's
I, and
bad.
I,
It's
I, I
bad.
like Drew as an athlete, as a person, because I know him, but and as a performer. But dude, I can't watch that shit, dude. It's toxic. It makes me want to hang myself.
Mm.
Honestly,
Eh,
it's not what pro wrestling is,
no.
bro. That's why, in some weird way, AEW still has something, even if it's like not as well produced, and even though we may see some blading or whatever, but there's still some sort of semblance of real pro wrestling that I'm a fan of. I know not everybody is. I get it. To each his own, and I understand that. But like WWE, when they're in the oh shit mode, like the Attitude Era was the oh shit mode. I was
Hmm.
there, dude. I was there
Yeah.
front and center when Kevin Scott left. I was
Hmm.
there that night at Madison Square Garden when the curtain call happened. And it
Yeah.
was the last night we all hung out for a lot of years. I didn't see Kevin Scott for 4 years after that.
Mm-hmm.
When actually last time I saw Scott, he left at Madison Square Garden. I saw him when I brought him in to work with me in ECW when I was ECW World Champion. We had a world title match in Poughkeepsie. That was ECW lore. That's how long it was. But
Mm-hmm.
that's when wrestling was wrestling. It's like the shit meant something.
Mm-hmm.
We got to get it back to that where fans love to must see programming, right? We forget must see programming.
Mm-hmm.
I want to tune into Raw to see must see programming.
Mm-hmm.
Who's going to jump, right? We need to have those things where, oh shit, Kenny Omega might be on Raw. Or
Mm-hmm.
I know
Right.
that's a stretch. I know he's locked
Yeah.
down. I'm just saying, like,
Right.
back then, you didn't know, like, um, who was jumping to where. Like, that's a thing that's good for both companies, and just I don't know, man. They got to figure out, even if it's not a reality thing, even if it's a worked thing, they got to kind of play on that, because I'd be tuning in to see if Randy Orton would show up in AEW. And I
Right.
know with the guarantees that these guys signed, it's forget about it.
I
But
don't.
that would make wrestling in itself hotter than hell.
The top tier guy, because I don't think Randy would ever jump, but the top tier guy that I think would jump would be Owens. I actually do think Owens would leave.
I think so. I think so. Oh yeah.
He seems very old school, and
Yeah. Yep.
and
Absolutely.
he has the type that would actually prosper in AEW.
I think. I mean, all those guys. I think have that thing in them.
Right.
And see, Randy might surprise you because I was. A lot of people don't know this, but before Randy got on TV, I worked with him for a full 2 or 3 months on the road before he came into TV, just on like B towns and stuff.
Nice.
And to this day, I still talk to Randy.
That's awesome.
He's a really cool dude, and I think he may surprise you. I mean, I get it. Everybody wants comfortability, and I don't know where anybody is in the scope of like, all right, where do I want, you know, am I doing this for me? Am I doing this for the business? But some guys just have like some guys just have so much possibility to change the game. Like right
Yeah,
now, if CM Punk wanted to get off his ass and go to AEW
it
just
would
to
blow.
do it, just to do it, just to say fuck you. Come on, man. Like
You
there's a couple of guys in the business that could still do that and say fuck. You know what I mean? Do you
right,
get what I'm saying? Not that they have to,
right.
but just for the sake of the business. Like they could turn the business upside down, the
Yeah,
whole landscape.
yeah. It would because especially with CM Punk for sure, but Randy it would. My only thing with Randy is I thought he would personally retire before he would do that. Um, Not that he's getting
Probably.
old or anything like that, but I don't think he doesn't come across like anyone that would want to burn out while he is in the ring. He seems like
Yeah.
more.
Yeah.
He seems like more
Yeah.
of those he would rather get out before he becomes like another Flair kind of thing.
Yeah, you're probably right. But just as a fan, right?
Oh
Like it's
yeah,
just
yeah. The
like
possibility.
dude, I wish like. But then again, too, now if you're CM Punk, and I haven't talked to him in 10 years. What do you feel like? Is he still waiting to make a move?
I don't think he wants to wrestle anymore. To be honest with you, he doesn't
Right.
come.
I mean, if there was going to be a move to be made, it would have been at that Chicago AEW show,
Oh
right?
yeah, yeah. Or when they launched on TNT, that would have been time.
But
I don't.
but at the same extent, if you're him, how do you let that go?
It's just got to be his heart's not in it at this
Uh,
point.
uh,
I could see how his whole um how the whole situation unfolded with WWE probably just ruined him of wrestling. I could see how that could happen.
yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, I could see that. I guess that's just, but again, that's the me mark, the me being a mark,
yeah,
right? It's like I just, dude, I wish I would have that power to
yeah.
be able to change an industry and to know, like, deep down inside, if I make this move, whatever move it may be, will change the landscape. That would be fucking dope, and I'm down for that. But the guys that can do it probably don't need to do it, and they cherish other things, which of course, God bless them. But it's just like, as a fan, it's like fantasy, just fantasy booking.
Yeah.
It's like, you know,
Yeah,
that would be dope.
it would be good. It'd be very cool to see like someone just randomly jump over. And actually there's a possibility of someone might be able to make the jump because their contract just expired, and that was Daniel Bryan.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, yeah.
Um and I've seen people on social media already talking about, oh, Daniel Bryan's gonna show up at AEW, and I don't. It's a possibility. The only way I would see it working is because there's other people he wants to work with that are outside AEW, so it's got to be like,
Right.
yes, I could still go to Japan, right? I could go to Impact, right? Like that kind of thing.
Well, but that offers a great freedom, and I'm
Right.
sure he doesn't want to have a million more matches either. But I'm sure if he could control his narrative to some degree,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like, look, I can go do Dynamite, I can go do New Japan once, whenever it's right, and I can
Right.
go do Impact whenever it's right.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that with the name he carries and that he earned and he fought for,
Mm-hmm.
that's a lot of power. That's a lot of power, dude. Whew. And I'm surprised WWE didn't clamp down on that.